When you work in the world of counterintelligence, people are thinking you're always going for protecting military industrial complex secrets, trying to protect, the blueprints of the F-35 Lightning jet fighter or something like that. No, it's economic more than anything else. For example, some things that the Chinese love doing is they will send their spies or operatives to places like farms. We literally had cases where we had Chinese operatives in farm country in Iowa pulling seeds out of the ground because our genetics that we use for our seeds is premier in the world. Our science ability as a species and especially as a country has genetically engineered food so that there is no famine. Think about this. A couple hundred years ago, people died from famine. Now, people will die of hunger because of food stress, but people are no longer wiped out by famines. Why? Because we genetically engineer things. So that is actually huge technological advantage. That's a huge economic advantage. And that's just in a seed. But there's all other areas that countries and nation states are interested in to save themselves billions of dollars of research. If I can steal it by recruiting one person, I give $500 to fly across the country. I'll buy him a nice dinner and a buffet at a Chinese meal or something, and I now get that one seed, and I've saved my country billions of dollars of research. There are some that I dealt with that we recruited that actually had been planning it their entire careers. And so they were thinking about it ahead of time for 10, 15 years. The most unsuspecting individual that you weren't targeting to recruit all of a sudden shows up on your doorstep ready to work. They're looking for someone like me who could solve a problem in their lives that they could trust with their lives. And they needed to do it in a very safe way, even though it's the most risky thing they're ever going to do. But they actually pre-planned that they wanted to do it decades in advance. So there's both sides of that coin. So I generally worked with them. There are individuals inside of Putin's government in Russia that are very, very proud Russians, not a Soviet like Putin. There is a lot of deep-seated animosity towards Putin and the oligarchs and what they've done to the country, what they're doing in Ukraine, ruining all these lives. And so here's someone that when they first entered their service of their country as an intelligence officer, as a diplomat, but in the back of their mind, they're like, I'm going to do something to better my country. And it's anti-Putin. So this is the mindset that some of them will have. They'll get married, they'll have a successful first tour overseas, but in their entire mind, it's like, I have to create a gap of time because my people are always watching me. So I have to make part of my normal routine a gap of time so that years from now, if I ever am successful enough to volunteer to the United States or any of the other NATO allies, this behavior will not look different to my own people. And so they will plan how to do what they're going to do in plain sight of their own people for a very long time. And those are the type of operations I've been part of. Just like with every human being you communicate with, if you are focused outwardly on them, the number one thing you do with everyone, whether it's recruiting a spy or selling a product or service or anything, finding out with active curiosity what's the other person's challenges or their pain points, what are their priorities, what's their friction points in their lives. And you do that by focusing on them. And when you start discovering what these things are, you then start offering resources for them to overcome those problems, challenges, pain points in their lives. Now, when you can couple those things with inspiring them to trust you with the behaviors of trust that I call that are open, honest communication, transparency, and an element of vulnerability, we're hyper focused on what can we do to be a resource for someone else's well-being. Because at our genetic and biological level, we are very, very predictable. We all seek, safety, security, and prosperity for ourselves and those we care about in our lives. If you can figure out what the other person thinks that is from their perspective, which is called deep empathy, you now can predict what they're going to do. And if you offer yourself a resource for them solving those things in terms of their prosperity, safety, and security, you're going to have a relationship. What are you going to do to inspire them to feel safe with you? That's it. That's how you recruit a spy. You figure out that.